It's Saturday. You know what that means. Collision is tonight, and you start off your day in the morning with Professional Wrestling, the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
The home of the one and only Mason Rush of HBW. And today's Mason Rush and friend again, because we got superstar Van Landon here with us.
You can't keep him away.
No, I love this.
I think he just will move over here, and our new guest here every week.
I think I'm going to sleep over there.
Yeah.
Dude, free water and pizza, and you're going to try.
View of the lake. What's more to love?
We had Jax Williams and Vanna Black here a while ago, and Jax Williams blew up the internet talking about how AJ Styles influenced his career.
Yes.
People lost their minds on it, and talking about how you're not a professional wrestler unless you wrestled for a hot dog and a Coke. Have you done that, Van?
I have.
Was it a good hot dog and Coke?
It was one of the most fun, laughable, lovable experiences you could ever have in wrestling. That hot dog and that handshake.
That's what it's all about.
Makes me think of an episode of Jerry Springer when a woman comes on and she's like, Jerry, I had sex for a cold pizza and a Coke. And like the crowd's like, couldn't you at least negotiate a hot slice of pizza? And that same crowd at Jerry Springer is the same crowd that'll show up at HBW pretty much.
Similar. Not far off.
Same demographic.
You notice the same crowds who go to a science fiction convention, the same one that goes to reptile conventions, the same one that goes to heavy metal concerts, and the same ones that go to wrestling shows.
Yeah.
All of them pretty much fit together.
Yeah, that's the market.
And that's the kind of crowd you're going to find at a typical AEW show, which is the subject of today's episode.
I was wondering where you were going with that. Now it all came together.
I actually don't plan my segues. It just naturally flows through my
This is fantastic.
That's why I write books for a living, including partnering law and managing professional wrestlers. So.
Audiobook too.
Audiobook, that's right. The Bible 3.0 just launched recently on Audible, Apple Books. It's Barnes & Noble, Indigo. It's worldwide.
Running out.
It's you know what's funny? We sold out on our first run on Amazon Canada. So Bible 3.0, buddy. And I'm going to be hidden in Arizona in the fall. In September, I'm going to be doing a Barnes & Noble tour as well, just like Becky Lynch does.
Nice.
Wow. I'll tell people we know you.
Thank you. Speaking of a guy who does tours recently, so as of this taping, we do not know. I'll just put a disclaimer. We actually pre-taped this one. We do not know the results of WrestleMania 40 yet. I'm going to assume that MJF did not show up at WrestleMania, because otherwise this question will make no sense. But let me ask you folks, without knowing what happened at WrestleMania 40, MJF, smarter to stay in AEW or jump ship to WWE, because supposedly he was a free agent? Some say he had pre-signed already with AEW, long-term contract. He was supposed to be the hottest free agent. Some said he had to go to WWE, and he was going to make his big appearance at WrestleMania in the Cody match because him and Cody are close. Start off, Van Landon. You're managing MJF. Are you telling him to jump ship to WWE or stay in AEW?
Oh, first I would look at the numbers, but I think you're onto something about AEW there. I think regardless of the numbers, I think there's, a status, a heavyweight status that MJF has in AEW. If he wants to jump ship, where does he rank? Is he Cody's little buddy? Is he in NXT? Where does MJF start? Where he is in AEW, if he can secure the bag, I say stick with it. He's already got that name value there. He's already going to be that next big thing to replace Cody. So I say he should stick.
I'm going to go with the other one. I'm going to say that Maxwell Jacob Friedman not only should, but needs to go to WWE in order to further his career. Because if he doesn't, his whole career will be plagued with a what if. What if he was against the best wrestlers? What if he wrestled Seth Rollins? What if he wrestled Finn Balor? All of those things. With that being said, you can very, very easily go from WWE right back to AEW whenever you want. So you can have your 2, 3, 4-year contract with WWE. When the last year or two is up, you play the same game he just played. whoever gives me the best offer, I'm going to go back there. No, I'm going to stay here. And it just all plays into his gimmick. It plays into the business. And if at that point AEW is going to give him $20 million a year to go back, at least you've done it. At least you've gone to both, and you can say, "I'm good. Now I'm going for the bank," and that's it. That's how. Yeah, he needs to go do that for his career to be complete. That's my answer.
Okay, interesting answers. I'm kind of siding with Van Landon on this one temporarily because my feeling is like this. It's like AJ Styles, TNA AJ Styles. And I know a lot of people were fighting this on the internet and we were debating and I was talking to some of the crowd as far as AJ Styles, what's better, AJ Styles TNA or AJ Styles WWE? And what my issue was, I think AJ Styles, if he had jumped ship to WWE much sooner, I think they would have messed up his career. I feel like the same thing with Orange Cassidy. Like WWE has nothing to do with him. He'd be a complete joke. He'd be in the jobber poker games, jobber video games, jobber battle royal. I don't feel like they would know what to do with MJF currently. I think big fish, little pond, And where I'm thinking with him is stay with AEW, get back to the heel gimmick because I don't like face MJF. It doesn't work for me on any level. And stay there for a while, but don't wait so soon like AJ, and don't go so late like AJ Styles did. So keep building up the AEW, but get there when you're a full star. I feel like if he goes at this point, I feel they're gonna mess up his career, and then we're gonna lose the luster of him. So I like MJF AEW, and I'm sticking with MJF AEW right now. We'll see where that goes. Same token, let's go to the next guy. Fine. I can't say the game always fair, but a guy that I could not stand for the longest time, Jungle Jack Perry. I could not deal with that. It was one of my most hated characters till he became a heel. And da-da-da-da, and I loved heel Jack Perry. Heel Jack Perry is working for me on all levels. And obviously we had the issues with CM Punk, which we'll jump to in a moment. But what are we doing now? Let's start with Mason. Mason, what are we doing with Jack Perry now? Because he's out of AEW. Suppose he's not been fired. He's bouncing around Japan.
I don't know. AEW loves their works, right? They love they're fired, they're hired, they're not signed, they are signed, right? Like, so they love that. So, and MJF could be the same thing. This could all literally just be a place. So you're right. You watch, oh my God, is he at WrestleMania? And then he goes and you see it, right? Like, so it's AEW is really good at that. So yeah, I mean, I think Jack Perry, he could come back. He might not come back. I don't think AEW really, I don't think he's one of their pillars like he was at the beginning, where kind of he was going to grow the league, the sport with everybody else. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of indifferent with Jack Perry. I wasn't really a fan of Jungle Boy. I'm not really a fan of heel Jack Perry.
Is he gonna come back? Are we gonna see him in an AEW ring ever again?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, he'll come back. Do I care? That's a different question.
Van Landon.
He'll be back. I just think with everything going on and all the stuff surrounding him, I think he's going to play a great heel when he comes back. He can't go the MJF route and just try to copy everything he's doing, calling out the fans, calling out the reality of the situations, because that's been done to death. And if MJF's going to be on there doing that anyway, it's just going to be two guys with the same sort of story. The difference is when Jack comes back, who does he challenge? Who does he fight? CM Punk's in a different company. There's no story there. Kill Switch, Luchasaurus, is wrapped up with Christian. Jungle was in a rivalry with Hook. Do they just rehash that? It's good that he's in Japan. Get some stuff figured out. When he comes back, he's going to be a great heel. But where does he go with it? That's what I want to know.
Only thing I could see is when Swerve wins the championship, is they're going to need somebody for him, and somebody's going to be sending him notes or whatever, and setting up a good return. Just go straight after the champ, coming in on a high. Jack Perry Hook, not Jungle Boy, but Jack Perry as the heel, cementing Swerve as the face. That'll be a fun rivalry for a little while. He's obviously not going to win a belt. but I think he's definitely back. So now on the twist turn, did AEW botch the firing of CM Punk? Watching the pop that he got in WWE for the Survivor Series, obviously, unfortunately, he got injured, and Drew McIntyre ruined his WrestleMania dream and setting over the grave, which I think is awesome. But does AEW regret losing out on CM Punk? Ben?
Absolutely. It's a awful situation surrounding the hype of CM Punk's return, him coming back to wrestling, him about to be a real pillar in being sort of the flagship guy of the B show, the alternative. Had the rocket strapped to him, plagued with the most unconventional injuries, and then to sum it all up with backstage nonsense and just an ugly situation on what was supposed to be the most celebrated and biggest wrestling show
of all time.
And then all people could talk about is the drama. It's so messy. It's so sad. I feel for Tony Khan because he didn't want that to happen. But I think CM Punk just didn't want to play any of those games anymore.
Listen?
Yeah, I think that they lost a lot when he left. And would they want him back? 100%. Right? Why wouldn't you? I'm not the hugest CM Punk fan. Back in the day, I was a lot more of a fan. These days, it's a lot of sizzle, not a lot of steak. But, he brings eyeballs and he puts butts in seats. And that's, at the end of the day, what you pay someone a contract to do. And he can go with his robo arm and do a good promo and sell tickets. So that's really what matters. But I think that CM Punk is I hate to say it, but almost too big for AEW as a character, right? So naturally, when that happens, you debut in the WWE, right? And I hate that I'm always this guy, but I don't know that there's many people, if you went in a locker room at AEW and said, would you trade your contract for a WWE contract? They'd be like, no. There's very few people, I think, would say that. And that's all the proof that I have to say. It's true, right? So, yeah.
For those of you tuning in, by the way, this is Professional Wrestling, the podcast. Mason Rush, Van Landon. We're talking some AEW today. One thing to keep in mind with CM Punk, for me, is number one, they built a whole show just for him, basically. Collision was built a third show. You could barely manage two, and now you got a third show. So the whole thing was built, Collision, about CM Punk being on there. And let's think about this. He got upset to Jack Perry saying, going through real glass is real, real dumb and real, real risky, and don't do it. And I think most of us think about it was saying he wasn't wrong about that. Look at Darby Allin and what he did going through a glass table. I just don't think it's the brightest move on the planet, but c'est la vie. Same token, people are, all the Cody crybabies out there are loving life with Cody as their number one face on WWE. Let's not forget, it wasn't that long ago that he was a WWE reject, Stardust, coming to AEW. And guess what? On AEW, he got real, real stale, real, real fast. They wanted to make him a heel because he wasn't working very much anymore. The same way Hogan got stale in WCW. And Cody did not want to turn to a heel, even though they were booing him and bored of him. So he managed to turn that into leaving AEW and becoming the biggest wrestling star pretty much on the planet right now. Kudos to him. So Tony Khan's looking at this saying, man, I just had WWE, CM Punk, and Cody Rhodes. I hate my life. Was there a way, looking back on it?
Jade Cargill.
Well, Jade Cargill, let's assume that she always had the aspirations. She knew the second contract. There's nothing they could have said and done with her. She knew where because she wasn't going to Hollywood. Like, ultimately, let's be honest, Jade Cargill is planning to be the biggest star on the planet, and she's well on her way to that. I don't think it's from a wrestling standpoint, but it's kind of the stepping stone. But Cody's a lifer in wrestling. Looking back in hindsight, was there a way that Tony could have kept Cody?
If there was, I wish he did it. I was sad to see Cody go as a huge AEW fan. As Cody, championed the launch of AEW, put it on his back, helped carry it through the beginning. I don't know what was going on storyline-wise, why the never challenged for the world title stipulation, was such an early, character moment for Cody in AEW. But whatever could have happened, I wish they got it figured out, because obviously Cody's doing great things in WWE. I would have loved to have seen him continue to do good things in AEW. I just don't think the fan base appreciated what Cody was bringing to AEW.
I agree with that. I think Cody is more of a showman, a promo, a cry on command, right? For the love of the fans. And AEW is hardcore indie style wrestling, right? So in indie wrestling, there aren't as many promos. People want to see going through glass. People want to see you running through tables and crazy blood hardcore matches, right? So I think Cody's, especially the American Dream gimmick or American Nightmare gimmick, is way more suited for a WWE with the costume and the presentation and the pyro. It's a show, and his wrestling almost comes as an afterthought, whereas in AEW, it's the wrestling that's the show, which is why diehard wrestlers love AEW, and I totally appreciate that.
And I think ultimately he always had that allure that he had unfinished business in WWE. It wasn't going well for him. That's why he went to the Indies and doing his thing. He was out in different federations, rebuilding himself. And he had to and he didn't want to have that what if. So he had to see, while he was still in his prime, can I do it? So I don't blame him in the slightest. And look, ultimately, there is no AEW without him. So he was, giant for that. And the better he does in WWE, it is a good reflection on AEW, because he could jump from one to the other. But I'm sure Tony Khan watches it in disbelief and says, wow, every episode of Raw, this is the main guy, and we had him, and we couldn't figure out a way to keep him. It's hard on the system. And he was the first big defection. And, the Young Bucks, the EVPs, right? And, Matthew Nicholas, I'm sure, watching this and saying, we'll see you soon, WWE. Viking Raiders, we're coming for you. So it's coming. It's coming. So as we're ending today's episode, again, with the stars of HPW, which, by the way, you guys have a big card coming up in May, correct? HPW's got
early May, apparently, is the next time that Van Landon and I are going to beat some people up. It's going to be great. Not each other, unless it's as a tag team against people. But yeah, it can be a good show.
Always.
So I'm going to ask you both then.
Get your tickets fast, because they sell out.
They actually do sell out. It is really tough on Brightspace. Get on there.
It's
on Brightspace. Drive on Brightspace, Hamilton Pro Wrestling, and order your tickets immediately, because they do sell out. I gotta ask you guys, the former leader of Hit Row, and no, I'm not talking about Top Dollar, but Mr. Swerve Strickland, you look into your crystal ball. Is he our future AEW champ?
Easily, 100%. If not at Dynasty, the show after that, which is likely Double or Nothing, easily. His reaction, I heard it firsthand recently, live at AEW in Toronto.
Whose house?
Exactly, it's Swerve's house. And yeah, somebody like that with that kind of momentum, you can't fumble. You cannot fumble. That title needs to be on him. It needs to be on him soon.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I think he is the next in line. He's got the entourage, he's got the faction, he's got the style, he's got the music, the entrance. What more could you ask for? And they got to keep a belt on him, or else you know where he's going to be going soon too.
And people not realizing, his music is real poppin'. He gets interviewed on a lot of stations all across North America for his music as much as his wrestling. He's becoming a cross sensation. This is the guy AEW needs. This is the guy to promote. He's going to be the first African-American heavyweight champion on AEW, believe it or not, with all the great stars they've had. This is your guy. This is the guy to build around right now. Mojo's great in the middle champion, but Swerve is our guy. I have no doubt about it. Fully agree with you guys. So we look forward to Swerve Strickland, our next champion. And this has been some great AEW talk, and really appreciate you guys sharing your insights. Fans, send in your comments, questions. You can find him at The Van Landon and at Mason Rush 33. If you like to speak to sleepy Shih Tzus, we got at Chosen Ollie and at Chosen Lawyer. And we'll see you back all real soon.
Hamilton Pro Wrestling.
And Hamilton Pro Wrestling, that's right.
Come see us.
Don't miss out. And we'll see you back all real soon on Professional Wrestling, the podcast.